Hello everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would do another video, and this one's about mining. I thought I would revisit some miners, and I built kind of a new one too. But I just kind of wanted to show where I started out a long time ago with miners. Um, the first miner I ever built was the Scarab SHM, and that's this guy over here. This was kind of my go-to for actual gameplay. It was a very cheap miner. It didn't come with the mining drills or a couple other parts right off the gates, but it used to unlock at player level 5. I guess it still does. It was very inexpensive, didn't require any rare resources, so you could spawn it in and get going right away on this. So it was a fun little build, and then you could add mining drills at player level 10 as well as at the time medical, and I think that's about it. But basically, it was just a cheap solution to get going and be able to do some mining and things like that. Now later on, I built a Scarab SHM2, and this was quite a bit later on. This one came stock with the mining drills, and this is a newer model, so it has a new type of storage and accounts for weights and volumes and things like that. Now, part of the reason why I'm showing all these right now is kind of the technology behind miners. And this one I liked. This one I thought was all right. Basically, what I got going on is I'm in a survival game right now, and I have weights and volumes on, and I've been loading these up with resources. Like in this case here, you can see it's got about 9,700 storage on it, and I have that pretty close to full with a bunch of ore. And there's a problem I was working on a new miner I haven't showed you yet. And I kind of realized that literally all the miners I have the same problem. And that is they have a bit of a lisp to them. A lisp, I'm sorry. I kind of lisped that. Well, anyway, I'll just keep on moving on here. But like this one here, so it's full on volume. It moves and everything, but it's got that tilt to it. Now, I know this one was built, too, to be even weight distribution, but I don't think it's quite even. It's close, but it does get a little bit of a turn to it when it's all the way full. As in the next miner I actually made was this guy here, and I never released this one, and this is the Scarab MV1. And the idea behind this one was a battlefield miner. In other words, it mines, but it also has quite a lot of guns on it and hardened steel construction. Now this was built originally before weights and volumes, but then I tried to modify it for weights and volumes, but it's not quite right, and it never was quite right. Mines are right, but basically I would have to redo all the storage in it into a different way. And this is a bigger, more expensive miner with a wider bore, but it does work all right. It really does get the job done with mining. It gets a little bit bigger tunnels, and it seems like that this is about the maximum range I would put the mining drills out. And so far, all these miners have the same general principle going on, where they have 6 mining drills, and I kind of angled them out a little bit to create more of a I don't know, some kind of bore pattern. Then there is the Scarab HRC. This one here, I don't know, it was experimental. It was the idea of not having an interior like these other ones do. Even this one over here has a interior to it. This one would keep everything on the back. And basically, the problem with this one, though, I think it was a little bit too wide, and it was more prone to get stuck in things. And I was trying to make things pretty as well, with a lot of these miners. Like this one, I think is the prettiest miner I've made, but you know, pretty doesn't mean it works good. It just means I thought it was kind of neat looking. This one not as much, but it's kind of cool, different. Um, Later on, I made this Creel miner here, and this one I just was messing with, and I got it to be CPU compliant. I have not updated the blueprint for it though, and the reason why is I had to cut all the Gatling guns. I had 6 Gatling guns on this thing, and I cut them all, and because I was trying to keep it at a tier 3 range when doing that. So it's at tier 3 now, but yeah, literally all the Gatling guns were removed. So I'm kind of at that debate. Do I want to update the existing blueprint and cut something that it originally had? I didn't mess with the weight or storage or any of that. And this one actually does function too. I've got this loaded up with quite a bit of ore in it. So it's just below the cap there. And it functions. So basically when I'm taking off, I can still get around and things like that. Here I get the HUD back on. Max speed when it's got a full load on it is 24. Not too bad. But again, the exact same problem. It has a lisp to the left side. And literally, and so does this one actually. Well, hard to tell with this one. I don't have near as much weight in it. So I've been kind of messing with this, and a lot of these just kind of bug me because I always get the same problem, and I was trying to fight that. So this is a brand new miner I built yesterday. This one is a no frills miner. Basically, I think it only has, I believe it's 10 blocks on it, and the rest are either cargo extensions or parts. There's like nothing else on this miner, so I couldn't do any real shaping. I wanted to keep all the cargo containers as full blocks. But this one is a very efficient one here. I'm kind of happy with that. And also, if you take a look at the CPU tier, this is a tier 1 miner. Yeah, fits in the tier 1 category just fine. But I went down to 4 mining drills on it, and I actually found that that works pretty good. As in storage and other features on it, it doesn't have a lot, but it does have O2, it has extra cargo box, and it has a medical station. But the storage is at 14,125. I've got this, I might cut one of the storage boxes to make it an even 14,000, but so I got this thing loaded up as well. And I got 2 versions of it. One I called Lisp. And let me take this one off the ground a minute and just let it kind of balance itself out without touching anything here a minute. So when I first built this, I was getting this result here when it had a full load on it. It was basically kind of pulling back a little bit, and of course it's got the tilt yet as well. And that was this tilt thing really kind of bugs me because when I built this thing, all the cargo extensions were symmetrically placed and perfectly even across the entire, across the entire miner. So there was no imbalances whatsoever on it, but I still got this turning feeling like this one. This one actually has it kind of bad. Came to the determination that inside of here I had a generator on one side and a fuel tank on the other side, and I think it was the generator that was causing a lot of the weight problems because it was like down below the blocks over here. So what I had to do is move the generator to the center on the improved version over here. But, you know, that's kind of rough to run all your parts down the center as well. But, yeah, I didn't like that idea of what's going on here so much. So this one, I've got it set up the same. And it's got the same cargo capacity and exact same weight load on it right now, which is pretty much full. And again, it angles just a little bit over to the left-hand side. Even though I've got like the generator and the other parts centered on this one. So my objective was, can I make a miner that actually has a load on it and is level across when it flies? Is that possible? And I'm going to get attacked by the Xerox. Oh no. I am not ready. So there's something interesting I can show here. Like, for instance, I'm going to add a couple more cargo extensions to this a minute. And I'm going to put one over on this side of the center of gravity here. I'm going to get back in it. And as you can see, it didn't really change it at all. But it does redistribute that weight as soon as I add that on there. Now here's what really gets me, is now I add a second one on this side. I think it's second that does it. And now it completely turns to the other direction. So that is kind of problematic, as I still can't quite balance it either way. It's like, I don't know. Even though they are exactly centered without any of these three cargo boxes, it still has that problem. So I'm a little bit curious on what the Xerox are doing. But on the miner itself, that seems to be the case. So I don't know if it's possible if I can get something like this to be perfectly centered or not. It seems like it doesn't want to work that way. And it's so weird too, because if I just get rid of that one box, even though it looks like it would turn the other way, it rotates back this way again. Some funky stuff going on. Those crazy Xerox. But other than that, I think I'm fairly happy with it, even how it is now. Now, one other thing I had to do between the two versions is this one here also had a tilt back to it. So on the second one, what I did is I took those hover engines and I put them back a row, the front ones, and that kind of balanced out the front, or actually where it's got the nose diving in just a little bit more. But as in a miner, this new one actually, I think, maybe the best one I've come up with yet. It's so simple too. It's not a complicated miner. It doesn't do anything. I didn't build it for looks, and it seems to do a pretty good job on there. And oh, geez, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Hold on. I was just going to spawn another one real quick here. So this guy here. Let me give this some fuel and take it out for a spin. Now, unloaded, thing's pretty quick and agile. But one of the nice things about it is it doesn't have much bulky stuff going on with it. Oh, hey, there's a landing pad under there. Probably not a good place to mine. Let's try to go over here somewhere. And again, this doesn't use any RCS either, so. And I have found too that hover height when you're mining makes a big difference too. Like if I get around 1.5 to 2 meters, the mining is much better than it is if I'm at 3 meters height. In fact, I'm gonna really chew through this stuff pretty quick here, even with 4 mining drills, which I don't think makes it any slower than 6. So even at that there, what was already mined was that whole stretch there. So this is going pretty quick. And of course it's small enough to be maneuverable mostly in mining tunnels, or about as best as can be done. Nothing's perfect, but I'm pretty pleased at this one, and I'm especially pleased with the cost of it. For the amount of storage and things it does have, it actually is a very inexpensive miner, considering it comes with everything. And can see that it has a 29-minute build time and requires no rear resources whatsoever. Also has 2 harvesters on it. No guns though. I had to make some sacrifices somewhere. Being really small and tier 1, the idea of adding a couple guns to it, I would have to seriously reduce the storage on it, add a CPU tier block, or, well, just basically reduce the storage a lot on it, and also add an ammo controller so I could give it, some kind of ammo. Didn't need much, but I just figured that's kind of not worthwhile for what it is. It's a miner. It only does mining. Now on the version here, I got to update that again, but it should be either top or bottom mountable. As I added some docking pads on the top of this too. So this is a new miner I'll probably get out pretty soon. If I could fix this little angle thing, I'm still kind of messing with it, but nothing I do seems to work. Either it tilts one way or it tilts the other way, but for whatever reason it just does not want to be level. No matter how I arrange the cargo or how centered everything is, it always leans one way or the other more than it probably should. And it might be just these parts weigh a little bit different, and that's just enough to keel it over. But I mean, I'm not real sure on that one. But I've tried to balance it the best I could, and I did make a lot of improvements from the original design at least. So that's basically what I was kind of covering on miners today. It's kind of fun. I haven't done HVs with Alpha 11 yet at all, so I've been kind of experimenting with some different designs. And another thing I do want to try is building a worthy tank that can take on tough POIs, has a shield, has a lot of guns, things like that. And I actually did a test chassis on that, and I realized that for what I want for a tank, to be a good tank, I can't do it at tier 3. I do not have the CPU available to make it what it would need to be, or have enough guns or anything like that. So if I do a actual tank that's designed to take on heavier, bigger, tougher stuff, it's really going to have to be a tier 4. And that I think I can get by with. But tier 3 is just not going to cut it. Tier 3 would work pretty good as a tank if you didn't want a shield. But the shield costs a huge amount of CPU. So as soon as you add a shield, trying to keep anything else tier 3, basically you don't have enough blocks to work with. You can't add enough weapons. You can't get any storage on it. You can't do pretty much everything that you'd want to have on any vehicle at T3 range with a shield. At least you don't have to worry about warp core on HVs, but other than that, that's about it. Now, some other updates. I did get the MCRN-Skive CT3 out a few days ago, and the Draper. Now, both of these, I was in a hurry. I didn't have a lot of time. I thought they were set a little bit better than they were, and after the fact, it turned out that, oh my God, is that Xerox up there? That was some Xerox sitting on the ship up there. Man, what are they doing? But I had bugs on both of these, and I had to fix the Draper, actually 3 patches, and I had 1 patch on the Skive, but I think I've got everything worked out now. The Skive's problem, and this really threw me for a loop because I've never seen it happen before. Let me show you with the oxygen debug on here now. Now currently this is the fixed version, so the oxygen is going all the way to the front of the interior space. Now the version that was broken, basically, and I failed to realize it too, is because when I did an oxygen test, and I was looking at it from over here, and I seen all these blue dots heading to like about what they are now, and I was like, okay, it's got oxygen. The reason why I wasn't so worried about oxygen along some of these areas here is these small half blocks, or these really tiny blocks that I actually use for trim, around the areas. They count, well, according to showing airtight blocks, they count as airtight blocks. But in reality, what happened is I lost all the O2 just beyond like this point over here. So the front area of the cockpit actually didn't have O2, but all of this was solid. And I've never seen that before. Typically, if you have a oxygen breach in a part of your ship, you will just see like oxygen usually like one block away from where your ventilator is. So you might see like a little bit of oxygen right around the ventilator here, but it wouldn't fill in the rest of the area at all. So I didn't realize I had a problem. And then when there were some comments that gave me a heads up on that, and I do appreciate it, that yeah, it actually was losing oxygen on this part of the ship right up here. And I was like, man, that is so weird. But anyway, my fix was I took the rocket launchers and I brought them one block forward. Basically, and I added a block behind them as well, so it's probably a little bit stronger than it was. And that fixed up the oxygen problem in here without having to rearrange the interior or anything like that. I didn't really want to. I had everything kind of homed in on where I wanted it to be and this and that. I mean, of course, there's a lot of different ways to fix things, but this worked, and I think it is just fine now. As in this, I've got this one fully loaded right now, too. Well, pretty close. It's about as much as I can get in there. So I've got all three bays with 333 elevator blocks each in them. And testing this in a weights and volumes environment. It's slower now, but it does work yet, so it's not too bad at all. Wouldn't want to get in any combat with this, but in this state. But I'm happy that it can move the weight that it's got. So essentially, I don't know what just happened there though. Did I hit something on the back there? Slammed you again. There we go. Oh, what the heck? It's just some weirdness. Alright, I'm going to try to land this better here. Okay, that's better. But anyway, it's working. It can carry about 1,000 elevator blocks at one time. So that's alright for a not super expensive storage SV. As in the Draper, this one had all kinds of problems. I'm sorry, I'm just watching these guys over here. I almost want to address these guys here because they're on my ship, man, and I don't like that. I just do not like that. So here, let me find something. Yeah, how about a sniper rifle? And what do we need here for bullets? Projectile rounds, is that what these use? Well, I got 13 rounds, it's enough, right? See, can I get them from here? Hey, buddy. Yeah, bam. No more Xerox. I feel much better now. But this one also had air problems up in the bridge. That's fixed now. There was a number of things else too. I ended up lowering down this by thought I did. Huh. No, this is the old version. What the heck? Oh, I spawned the proto version. Duh. Darn it. I got too many versions of ships. I got to clean my folder. Yeah, I meant to spawn this one. So basically, I took this down by one block row over here just to give it a little bit easier space flying out. And I had to make a few other adjustments on the ship. Basically, the O2 problem, and then I was missing some textures, and then the hangar thing, I fixed that up. I think that was about it, but I'm happy to get this out out to the public. Actually, both these I did get them out just before Christmas. If I didn't do it then, I would have had to wait till after Christmas to get them out because I didn't have any time in between there. I do kind of regret kind of rushing them a little bit, though. I should have checked them out more and did more fixes to them before I did release them. But anyway, that's about all I've got for today. So a new miner will come out pretty soon. I'm still, like I said, I'm still going to try to tweak this just a little bit, but I'm pretty content with where it's at right now, as in like literally every one of these miners has the same problem, and I don't even know if it's a fixable thing. It seems like it never wants to perfectly be centered and balanced. And that's something I kind of almost want to set up another test chassis for too, is can I perfectly center these things if they got a lot of weight on them? I mean, because I know for a fact, you know, especially on this, and I said this already, is all the cargo extensions are symmetrical from right to left and across this entire thing. Even the main parts, the generator and the core, are centered on this. So the only thing that I have one fuel tank on it, and it is off-centered, but it's off-centered to this side, not the side where it's dipping in. And I've also put this on this side, but that doesn't seem to make a difference either. So it's definitely interesting. So anyway, you all have a good day. Next week, I think I'm going to just get into a lot of building tutorials and things like that. I didn't show the space carrier today. I want to work on it some more. I didn't get a lot of time to really do much in the last few days. Or actually, yeah, it's several days now since I got anything actually done to that myself. Some other authors have been looking at areas of it, though. So we'll see how that goes, but I got a lot of work to do on it yet. I don't expect it to be out till sometime in January. And just as a rough estimate, the amount of time that I personally got to put into it yet, I'd probably look at that as about 60 to 100 more hours of my own time I got to get into that ship yet. So it's gonna be a little bit yet. It's a little floating city there. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Hope you had a great Christmas. New Year's is coming up pretty soon too, so please enjoy that. And next week I'll have some more videos out on various different topics. And see you later.